Welcome back to the Sibling Group Chat. I'm Owen.
And I'm Cassidy.
And today we are back at it with the Odyssey Review, episode 75, Elijah, parts 1 and 2.
75, that's an impressive number. These
It
are
is,
the
yes.
87th and 88th episodes of Adventures in Odyssey. They aired on September 30th and October 7th, 1989. They are part of Album 6, Mission Accomplished. I think we can now say we are officially in Album 6, because I think we're going to finish it out here. I could be wrong, but we're settled into it now. We finished Album 5. We got a random Album 7 episode, but we're now in Album 6 for the foreseeable future. And in this episode, Robin and Jack journey in the Imagination Station to meet Queen Jezebel, King Ahab, and a powerful prophet named Elijah. And our themes are God's power and sovereignty and the biblical story of Elijah, King Ahab, and Queen Jezebel.
Poor Obadiah getting left out of the description.
That's true. Well, I think, yeah, you would think Obadiah would be left in, because he does kind of play a major part in this story. But you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Obadiah is mentioned in this story. Like, he's not a fictional character. He is part of the story in the Bible, but it's not the same Obadiah who wrote the book of Obadiah. Right?
I believe you're correct, but I am not versed enough in my minor prophets to be able to give you the right answer.
I think that's right. I know it's been taught to me at some point in time. I'm just not positive I'm remembering correctly.
I'm pretty sure you're right, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, Obadiah is a real character in this story, but it's probably not the same Obadiah who wrote the book of Obadiah. So,
right.
there's that. Oh, before we continue into this episode, I want to bring up something about last week's episode that Emily corrected us on, or not corrected, commented on for us. Remember last week we were on episode 86, and we were like, what happened to episode 85? Somebody tell us, and she did. Episode 85 is one of I believe they're called the Dusty episodes. Like, these are even worse than the Lost episodes. They only aired once, and then they were disappeared. I do remember reading about them in the AAO guide once she told me. But that one was the one about homeschooling, and it didn't show homeschooling in a fantastic light. So it was lost.
I understand why it was. Yes.
Yes.
I understand.
Yeah. So thank you.
Surely it
thank you, Emily.
Okay, before we move on, then, why is addictions can be habit forming not a Dusty episode?
Right? If
why
that one is that bad,
still being out there.
the Dusty episodes must be real bad if addictions can be habit forming.
It must be real bad if you can portray homeschooling worse than that episode.
That's very true. Very true.
Yeah. Well, I had another thought before we actually get into the episode. Just want to point out we have a new location unlocked. I'm back in college in a dorm room, and it's not the same dorm room I was in last year, so therefore it is a new location.
Yeah, we should honestly be keeping track at this point of how many different locations we can record in. But such is life when you have busy lives and low budgets. So.
And upgrade to my setup this year, I have a spinny chair to sit in. So if I'm moving way too much, that's why.
Yeah. Anyone watching this on video and not just listening to the audio, I hope you don't get car sick by the fact that I'm in a car and Owen's moving around a lot.
Indeed. All right, let's hop into this.
This is a great episode. I've mentioned this before, but Album 6 episodes are just, like, I know them so well because Album 6 is one of my favorite albums. So I know this episode quite well. It's fun to get into it.
Yeah, there is so many lines in this one. Either like they just stick out to me, like right before you get to them, you're like, oh, I know what's coming next, or ones that like I was waiting for. One that I've forgotten about, but I remember quoting it a lot. I feel like you specifically, and I'm just gonna say it now, even though we haven't got there. It's like, we are waiting, prophet.
Yeah, I wrote that one down too. And as I was writing it down, I was like, I do think I say this a lot, but like I'd forgotten that I say it until I was heard it and was writing it down. I was like, I say that one, don't I?
Yep. All right, let's hop into it. Imagination Station is being fixed because Dr. Blackard blew it up, essentially. And
yeah. And it's funny
so Tom
because
and Whit are fixing it.
I think it's funny that they do say, like, you can infer that they're fixing it, like, because what says something about, like, we don't want another accident, do we? But, like, I, listening to this, like, growing up, did not put together that's why they were fixing it.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
me
even
neither.
though they allude to it, like, maybe until just now was, like, or when I was listening to it this time, because we're listening intentionally, consecutively, I was like, oh, that's why they're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Chris even says it's been a while since anyone's used it, and other than Lucy's incident, the last time it was used was by Nicholas in A Prisoner for Christ, which I'm just now thinking of this. That episode of Prisoner for Christ is in album 6 now. I think it's before this episode, but I always remember thinking it was weird that they're like, it's been a while since anyone's used it. And I'm like, Nicholas just used it, but he didn't actually, because the episode is out of order.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't put that together.
Me neither. Until just now.
Yeah. So I just think it's funny to mention, and they give the reason why, because Tom is helping Whit fix it, which is like, why is Tom helping him? Tom wouldn't have a clue what he's doing, which is basically he says that. But I mean, it's because Eugene is busy at the college apparently. But it's just kind of funny to me because like, yeah, Tom has no idea what he's doing. But man, can Tom make a good keep off sign? Am I right?
He can as a work of art. But yeah, I wondered the same thing. And I have to wonder, I mean, they explain it as Eugene is busy at the college, but I have to wonder if Will Ryan had a scheduling conflict or something, because that feels like a throwaway line. Like, they knew everyone was going to question Tom being the one being there, and so they had to give a reason why. You know? Like, I do kind of wonder if it was a Will Ryan conflict and not really a Eugene conflict.
I mean, maybe. I mean, whoever would have played that character is not really a consequential role. Other than that, they probably, I assume, Tom and the voice actor's
Walker.
name is blanking in my head right now. Voices
Walker
characters
Edmondson.
in our Bible story, correct?
Yeah, he does. And Walker Edmondson voices a lot of Bible characters. So they're probably like, he's going to be here anyway. Will Ryan could do Bible characters, but Walker is more known for his Bible characters. So that could have been a reason as well.
Yeah. So yeah, they're fixing it. They pretty much finished the actual like work on the imagination station, and they're going into the computer room to help program. Which, one thing, getting back onto the Tom, like him helping him put the physical thing back together makes sense. There's no way Tom would have been able to help him do anything in the computer room. Am I right?
You're right, but also Tom and Whit were just hanging out together and being friends. So Whit was like, "Hey Tom, come hang out with me while I do the computer stuff." And also, I need you to leave the room so the rest of the episode can happen. I have another comment here, because Whit and Tom are talking about the imagination station, and we're going to see as the episode progresses. Whit says that they put a wall in so that 2 kids can use it, having 2 separate adventures, I think is his wording. And so we're going to see Jack and Robin do technically have 2 separate adventures, but like within the same adventure, and they join together at the end. But the way Whit says it, almost to me, seems like they could be having 2 entirely different adventures and never run into each other. So I wonder if that's what's supposed to happen, and because they got in before he was finished with it, or it can do both, and they just happened to get in on the same one.
I kind of assumed that they can do both.
Okay.
Because even later when he does modifications, because he's always tinkering with the imagination station, doesn't he make it so it's like, I want to say like 4 different people can use it at some point or something like that, and they can do completely different things. I don't know if we ever get an episode of other people. I feel like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm combining different inventions or something. But anyway, so they go in the computer room. Tom puts up his keep off sign, which is placed in a location where it'll be clearly visible.
It's a work of art.
And then Jack and Robin come in. Yes, it is a work of art. And then Jack and Robin come in because Robin.
And when Jack and Robin come in,
Mr. Whitaker had changed the imagination station.
Yes, Jack didn't believe her. I don't know why it's in this episode and not episodes before, because we just had Jack in the last episode, but in this episode specifically, I was like, Jack's voice is changing. I don't know if it has been for a while now, but I just noticed it today. I was like, his voice is getting lower.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense, and voice changes are gradual, so like it could have been changing up till now, and but I definitely noticed it in this episode. But yeah, Robin was like, "You didn't believe me."
There you go. Okay, I was going to say that if you didn't, because I was like, we just missed a golden opportunity to quote National Treasure. And
You
you
didn't
didn't
believe
believe us.
us. Yeah.
Yes. But then Robin gets into the imagination station, despite the keep off sign, which Jack points out to her. Um, and then she shuts the door because she's messing with buttons. And then, in her messing with buttons, commences an adventure for herself.
Accidentally. Yeah. You
And
find it at
then
all
Jack
weird that
tries to get
Jack
her
is the responsible one here?
out. Right? It's like the entire episode, though. Jack is basically the responsible one the entire episode.
Yeah. Which goes to prove my point that Isaac the Insecure was a weird episode for Jack. Because, well, I'm not saying Jack has always been responsible. The Jack of that episode definitely wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like, generally, I don't think. Maybe he's just learning his lesson since Heatwave. He's just matured a lot since then, maybe. But
Maybe.
it does feel weird. And that's also probably why it's Robin and not Lucy, because it couldn't have been Lucy in this episode workout. So we had to switch him to a different girl.
Because Lucy is done with her rebellious phase.
Yes, Lucy has. Yes, she's done her time. She will never be rebellious again.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah. But yeah, I found it funny because Robin accidentally starts the adventure, and then Jack gets in and basically does the same thing. And this is like, I feel like an ongoing trope where kids accidentally start the imagination station, where it never changes. No matter how much he changes the imagination station, we always start it the same way, with the flashing red button. Except in this one,
yeah,
I didn't catch
except
it
it's white in this one.
It is, and I didn't catch that because I think my brain changes it to red. But I was reading the Odyssey guide, and they point out that he does say white, and that's the only time. And they try to explain it as like Wit was changing things, so he changed it here, but then later he changes it back to red. But I still feel like they always act shocked that they start the episode when it's always like, why wouldn't the most obvious button be the one to start the adventure?
Yeah. And it's always like, how do I get out of this thing? Oh, look, a big red button. I bet it's that one.
Yeah, it's never that one, guys. Yeah.
It does make the question, though, how do you get out of the imagination station without getting in the adventure? Like, nobody ever figures it out.
Well, just don't get in it if you don't want to take an adventure. It's that easy.
You go in, but you don't come out.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah. Man. So yes, Jack gets in, starts his adventure, and we get to start with Jack in the imagination station because he lands in a field near a cow, and he talks to the cow. I didn't write down anything he says to the cow, but he does talk to the cow. It's a very sickly looking cow.
You don't look so good, Mr. Cow. He's so polite with the cow, always referring to him as Mr. Cow. Which, to be fair, there's a good chance it's probably Mrs. Cow. If we're being like, just thinking about it, there's probably a better chance it's Mrs. Cow, but it's fine.
But then a boy shows up. I have in my notes, a boy, Kurt, but not, with a staff, wanted to know where he came from, because the voice is Kurt, and I just couldn't think of it as
the
not
voice
Kurt.
is Kurt, and this is actually his first episode. The voice actor's name is Fabio Stevens, and this is his first episode.
And yeah, so he wants to know where Jack came from and what his business is, and to make sure he wasn't a thief. And then Jack's like, "Do I look like a thief?"
I don't know. I've never seen a thief.
And then
it's very much. I feel like if would happen with Kurt and Jack in real life, if they were meeting for the first time under suspicious circumstances, I feel like they could have had that exact same conversation.
Yeah. But then we get the boy's name, and his name is Benjamin. He's a servant of a man from Tishbite, or a Tishbite from Gilead. And Benjamin tells Jack, Jack asks Benjamin about finding his friends. He said he needs to find his friend. And Benjamin says, she's probably fine as long as she's nowhere near the palace.
Immediately cuts to
Foreshadowing.
Robin in the palace. That's not even foreshadowing because it's an immediate cut.
It's immediate shadowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Queen Jezebel who just lives rent free in my head throughout this whole episode. I'm just like, I know all, like, she's just so crazy. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, I never noticed before today that, well, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of us because we don't go straight to Queen Jezebel, but Queen Jezebel is voiced by Robin's mom, who we haven't met yet, yeah. But yeah, it's the voice of Robin's mom. This is also her first episode, I checked. But yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yes, Robin was caught by the guard, and who brings her to Jezebel. And then Jezebel tells the guard to put her down, and that's the line. The first one was like, "Bring her down, Ileana."
Yes, I like that one. And then it's like, "What is your name?" Like Robin. It's like, "Oh, how pretty."
Yeah. But yeah, then he asks Robin what she's doing there, and then Robin tells them. And as is typical of the Imagination Station, nobody has a clue what's going on when you tell them that you're from the Imagination Station.
Exactly. And I want to bring up a point. When Robin and Jack came into the Bible room, I got the impression that they'd both used the Imagination Station before. Did you?
Well, Jack for sure, because he said he liked it the way it was.
That's true. But I felt like they both came in, like the way they were both talking, it seemed to me like they both used it before. But then... And Jack obviously knows what he's doing when he gets in because of how he interacts with Benjamin. But Robin is acting like she's never done this before because she's surprised. Like, granted, she didn't expect to start the adventure, but you would think if she's used it before, she would pick up on she's now in an adventure. But she, like, tells them she's going to report them to Mr. Whitaker and stuff. So maybe she hasn't. But I felt like the way she was talking in the Bible room made it seem like she had.
Yeah. Can I just say, it took Mr. Whitaker way too long to come up with the idea to make them go back to an adventure as somebody who already fits into the adventure so that people don't just ask them random questions.
Yeah, or like you're gonna dress the part and the people are there are already gonna know who you are. Yeah, it took him a while to get there, but it's a good thing he did.
Yeah. I mean, it does create many funny lines.
It does.
Obviously, this is an Old Testament adventure, so we don't get the "You're from Greece" lines, but it's still.
We do get a funny one here with Mr. Whitaker.
Yeah, Mr. Whitaker. But anyway, they think she's a spy because nothing she says makes sense, and so they throw her in prison.
Yep. Back to Jack, who once again. Just like every other time before now, he can't remember how the Bible story goes. You think Jack would have learned. Because he couldn't remember the story of Jonah, he couldn't remember the story of Noah, now he can't remember the story of Elijah. Jack, read your Bible.
Okay, to be fair, I mean, you would think he would have figured it out before he got to the name, but just meeting a servant named Benjamin would not be enough to figure it out, because I don't even know that Benjamin's actually in the Bible.
Well, no, he's not. And, like, he's trying to remember that there's a drought. But I think even when we come back, Benjamin has told him about Ahab and Jezebel. And that's when he's like, the names sound familiar, but I'm trying to remember the Bible story. But he didn't have the final clue of Elijah because Benjamin had yet to name drop Elijah. But still, it's just funny because it's a recurring thing with Jack. He's like, I don't remember the Bible story. You've got to tell it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, then they meet Elijah as Jack is trying to figure out how it's going. When they meet Elijah, Jack puts it all together.
Mm-hmm. Do you notice the voice of Elijah? Who else that is?
It's Uncle, what's his name? Joe?
Uncle Joe, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
He won't be Uncle Joe for quite some time, but yeah.
But that's who he is.
That's who he is.
Anyway, Jack asks if he can come along with Elijah and Benjamin because he thinks if he does, he'll find Robin. Which, again, kind of goes to show you, obviously Jack has never been in an adventure with another person before because this is a new thing.
But he really knows how this thing works.
To follow the story.
Yeah.
to get to where he
It
needs
all
to be, essentially.
Yeah. Well, he's never been in the imagination stage for somebody else, but he's been in Bible stories with Lucy when Mr. Whitaker has told them to him. And so he's just
Yeah.
like, I know how my imagination works. I've got to follow the written story.
Yep. Anyway, back to Robin. This scene is so funny.
Her talking to herself
Robin's in
in
prison
jail.
complaining, and then the prisoner's like, "Would you be quiet?" And then one of them's like, "You forgot to mention the rats." She's like, "What?" And he's like, "Well, you were making a list of complaints, and you can't list the complaints without talking about the rats."
They're funny. My favorite line in the whole scene is when she's like talking to herself. She's like, "I just couldn't listen, could I? Nope, not Robin."
No. Yeah.
The other prisoners are really funny too.
Yeah, because then the guard it's not Iliada this time, is it? It's a different guard, just a random guard
No,
now.
it's a different guard. Yeah.
Yeah, random guard comes to get Robin, and he's like, "Where's the one called Robin?" And everyone goes, "I'm Robin."
Me, I'm Robin. Like, no, you're not.
But Robin is brought out and is taken to see the queen. They run into King Ahab on the way.
Well, she's taken out. She meets Obadiah, and Obadiah's going to take her to see.
Oh, right. And then they run into King Ahab on the way.
Yeah, and since I keep name dropping everybody, I don't know why in this episode particularly. I was thinking about names, but I was. King Ahab's voiced by Hal Smith. Obadiah's voiced by Walker Edmondson.
Mm-hmm.
King Ahab's really funny. I don't think he's supposed to be, because now when I read the Bible, I generally don't take King Ahab seriously. But yeah.
Yeah, Ahab is not a funny character in the Bible, but I think what they were going for and what he accurately portrayed and what he was going for is the fact that Ahab is like, I'm trying to think what the right word, but like he sounds like a little tiny guy who lets Jezebel make all the decisions, and I think that's what they were going for, which isn't entirely true based on the Bible, but it is partially like you let Jezebel
I think
control things way too much.
Yeah, I agree. That's what they're going for, and I think that's fairly accurate. I mean, we don't know for sure, but like we can infer things. So yeah.
Right. I think they did a good job in what they were going for.
Yeah, but it does make him a slightly comical character.
Right. Anyway, Robin is taken to Jezebel because they're going to use the priests are going to make an offering to Asherah and Baal, the false gods.
This scene.
Let me get there.
Okay. I'll be quiet.
The false gods are going to reveal if Robin is telling the truth or if she is a spy. But to get the false gods to tell them anything, they first have to bow down, and Robin refuses because she knows that she can't bow down to any god but the true God. Which then Jezebel gets really mad because she realizes Robin is a worshiper of Yahweh. And if she doesn't bow down, she will die. Although, before we get to Jezebel saying die, because that is also a lot of stuck in the head, in the background of almost the entire conversation about Robin serving the true God, Yahweh, there's just the prophets, or the priests of Baal and Asherah in the back going, Asherah and Baal, Asherah and Baal.
And it gradually gets louder and louder as the scene keeps going. And this all the time in my head, just any like
Pops
random
in your head
times,
the worst times.
It's like the worst times, and all I can think of is Asherah and Baal, Asherah and Baal, Asherah and Baal. Yeah.
There have been times that just something random just makes me think of that, and then you're just like, I think there was one time last year I was walking between a couple classes or something, and it was just like, it was just like, it was just like it pops into your head, and then you're walking to class, and you're just like, Asherah and Baal, but you can't actually say it because if somebody walked by you and you're just like, Asherah and Baal, Asherah and Baal,
Yeah.
you'd be like, what in the world is wrong with this person?
Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, and then we get Jezebel's iconic line, like, well, then my little waif, you will die. Do you hear me? Die. And then that's where the episode ends.
Yes, indeed.
Wait,
It's in that
although
part is not
second,
supposed to be funny, but it kind of is too.
it's just great voice acting by this woman. She does it great, and it's even better because this is one of the few times I can think of where we have a two-parter where the second part picks up by going back a few lines, so we get to hear the line again, which is great.
Yeah. Yep. So then we pick up part two again, like you said, with a couple lines from the end of part one, and then Robin is taken, or ordered to be taken to prison, and she will be executed in the morning. And Obadiah is told to not let her escape, or he will be executed instead.
Yeah.
Um,
As
Obadiah
Obadiah and
does
Robin
not
are
care.
leaving, no, he doesn't care. As Obadiah and Robin are leaving, I was noticing a back because like I've heard this episode so many times, so I was like picking up on other stuff. As they're leaving, you hear Jezebel go, "Josabad, put down that incense. We're leaving."
I didn't pay attention to what she said. I did hear her say something in that.
Yeah. Well, I think I
Yeah.
can normally hear that she's talking to Jehozabad, but like I don't really pick up like he's the priest. I never really picked up the full line, but it's just like put down the incense, we're leaving. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so Obadiah takes Robin to the secret caves because, as we find out, Obadiah is a follower of God, and he helps hide the prophets that Jezebel tries to kill. Um, and he says that he'd never seen someone so young behave so bravely. And then he leaves because he has to go with the king.
Mm-hmm.
Now back to Jack and Elijah, unless you had something else on that scene.
No, I don't think so. I think
Well,
well, it is kind
there
of funny.
actually
It's
is
like I've never
there's a
seen anyone be
humorous
so
line.
brave, and Robin's actually. I mean, she is brave, but she's also just like outraged. Like it's not so much bravery as it is. You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah. There's also the line though. The guy who's like in charge of the cave prophets, uh, Obadiah tells him to keep Robin safe, and he's like, "She will be quite safe with us." He's like, "Yes, but will you be safe with her?"
Yeah, that line is funny.
Mm-hmm. So then, yeah, Elijah and Jack, or back to Elijah. Jack and Benjamin are carrying things for Elijah, and Jack starts complaining, and Benjamin's like, "Dude, I've been doing all of this by myself."
Yeah. What are you complaining about? I've been doing it alone for weeks. Elijah's like, "Are you guys coming?"
Yes. They run into Obadiah on the road, and Obadiah tells him or Elijah tells Obadiah to tell Ahab that he has returned. And Obadiah's like, "Have I done something wrong?"
Yeah. He's like, "Why? What do you mean?" He's like, "You want me to die?" There's a lot of die in this episode.
Yeah. And he
Yeah,
tells
because
him, like,
apparently there's been reported Elijah sightings frequently, and Ahab is not happy when he's not actually there.
yeah. Just random thought, in the new Spider-Man movie, they got the Spidey Tracker app. Makes me think of that as
Yeah,
like
it's an
Elijah
Elijah
sighting
tracker.
nearby.
Yeah, you better be sure
Elijah
he's
has been
there before you
reported
go
in the
talk to
area.
Ahab. Yeah, pretty much what was happening. Obviously without an
Mm.
app, but
Um, so Obadiah goes and gets Ahab, and then Elijah meets Ahab, and they both accuse
Elijah,
each
is
other of
that
troubling
you, O
Israel.
troubler of Israel?
It is not I who have troubled Israel.
It's you.
It is you and your house who have followed the Baals. Yes. And he says to meet him on Mount Carmel and to bring the officials of the palace and the prophets of Baal and the prophets of Asherah and the officials and everybody and meet him there.
And
And
Ahab
yeah.
is kind of giving off like, yeah, and how are you gonna make me? Like, and what if I don't? But you can also tell as much as he dislikes Elijah, he does kind of respect him because he's like, okay, we'll be there. But he's basically like, make me.
Yeah. Well, then Elijah even says, like, you will do it.
Yeah, you're gonna be there.
So then they go back to the palace to get the prophets and the people and whatnot, and Obadiah goes to warn the prophets in the caves that if things go wrong, he may not be able to return, so they should make plans to escape. And then Robin says she must go with him Mount Carmel, and he's like, no, stay here. And she's like, no, I'm coming.
So like I've picked
Get
up
over
on
it,
how
dude.
this works. I think I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah. Which again begs the question, can you just go off track of an Imagination Station story? Like, if she had listened to Obadiah and been like, okay, I'll stay here, do you get to just miss the actual point of the adventure?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe if she had, then Jack, because Jack also thought he was going to meet Robin on Mount Carmel, so maybe if she hadn't come, Elijah would have somehow, or Jack would have somehow left with Obadiah, and then Obadiah would get her back to the prophets. But again, that's not
That's
how it's going to
possible,
work.
yeah.
But I do kind of wonder because we don't hear the whole adventure, but like Robin actually did hang out with the prophets in the cave for a while. Like, what was
Right,
going
like,
on there?
yeah. But so then we head to Mount Carmel as Elijah's calling the people together, and actually Ahab calls the people together, and then we get the line, "We're waiting,
Waiting,
prophet."
prophet. Yeah, I do say that a lot. It's been a while, but I
Yeah.
say it.
And calls the people and issues a challenge. Is like, if the Baals are the true gods, follow them. But if God is the true God, follow him. So we are going to have a test. We're going to prepare offerings, but we won't light them on fire. We will call for fire from our gods. And then the true God will answer. Robin and Obadiah show up as the priests of Baal are calling for the fire from heaven for their offering, which I'm kind of glad we kind of just like glance over this topic because that is a very gruesome couple verses in that story in the Bible. But we do get
Yeah,
the Elijah mocking them, which is a really funny part of the Bible, even though they do
yeah,
skip one of the funnier ones, which makes sense why they skipped it, but it's still one of the funnier ones. He's like,
yeah,
louder. Maybe he is deep in thought or busy. Louder.
yeah.
Maybe he is on a journey or asleep. And then in the Bible, he also says maybe he is relieving himself, but they didn't put that one in the episode. Um,
I can't imagine why not.
yeah, right.
Probably because they, well,
Um,
I mean, they would have had little kids wanting to say it, and their parents would have they'd have parents writing in like, I get it's in the Bible, but did you have to point that out to my child?
yeah. Um, then he calls them over to his altar because obviously no fire came down. Um, and his altar is made of 12 stones for the 12 tribes of Israel. And then he has Jack and Benjamin pour water over the altar 3 times. And Jack is like, what in the world are you doing? Like, get with it, man. Fire doesn't burn if it's wet. And then Elijah prays to God, and fire from heaven came down. And can I just say, this is my favorite sound effect just because of the bonus about
I
how they
know.
made the sound effect. I just love
Yeah,
hearing
that's
it
what
come together.
hmm That's what I put in my notes. Like, it's iconic because of the bonus feature. Because don't know what we're talking about. The bonus feature is on the Golden Audio albums, but I believe it's on the club. So if you haven't heard the bonus feature of how they create the fire from heaven, go listen to it. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and the fire consumed the entire altar, water, etc. Then Elijah says he and Benjamin must go alone into the mountains, and that God has promised rain. And then Obadiah brings Jack and Robin to the feast. Oh, I skipped the fact. Robin ran over to Jack when the fire was coming down from heaven. I skipped that. So Robin and
Yeah, that
Jack
does
have
happen.
finally figured out they have reunited.
Reunited.
Yes.
Benjamin thinks Robin's cute.
Oh yeah, I didn't even put that in there, but that is a funny line. Like, did not tell me that your friend was so pretty, even in beggar's clothes.
Like, are you talking to me? And Jack's like, give me a break. It's Robin. And Jack is probably like, don't call her, don't compliment her. You never know what's gonna happen. You might get a report of your damaged body.
Yeah. And then they go with Obadiah to the feast with the king because he's celebrating because King Ahab is like, "Oh, that was cool. Let's eat lots of food." Um,
Yeah, it's funny if you notice throughout this episode. It's funny to me what Ahab calls Elijah, because we have like, "Oh, troubler of Israel," and then after the fire from heaven, he's like, "Oh, great prophet of God, I never doubted you for a minute." And Elijah's like, "Yeah, you did. Don't even."
right. But the funny thing, while they're feasting, Robin eats rabbit and says she likes it, so she asks for more. They're like, "Oh, you mean the rabbit?" And she's like, "Rabbit? I'm eating Bugs Bunny."
Bugs Bunny. Yeah.
Question,
Which
because as far as I remember, this is the first time that we have documented the person in the adventure eating. How does that work? Like,
I
if you
have the
eat something
same
in the
thought.
imagination station, are you full when you get out, or does it
I was
just leave when you?
Yeah, I didn't write it down, but I was thinking about that too. I do wonder how that works because obviously not everything that happens in an episode affects you in real life because they will go days in an episode and so like they're sleeping and stuff, presumably.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Or is there like a
Probably
little
it probably you
feature
probably
that
aren't
like
full
produces the
because
food
this
that
goes
goes with the
back.
story?
Yeah, but I mean I would guess you're probably not full because this goes back to the anytime I question the imagination station, I go back to Zachary didn't actually walk. So
That's
they
true.
probably didn't actually eat.
Why'd you have to bring up that episode? That is one of
I
my
know.
least
I
favorite.
hate to bring it up, but anytime I'm questioning the workings of the imagination station, it kind of has to be brought up.
I guess.
Yeah,
Can't wait to put that one in
just
F tier when we get there.
I know. I know. It's like every time we do a tier list, we gotta bring up Freddy. We hate to do it, but you gotta bring it up every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. A funny thing about the rabbit though is this is my other fun fact from the AIO guide for this episode is that rabbit is an unclean food. Um, and so in the guide specifically, they're saying Obadiah eats rabbit, but he shouldn't have as a follower of God. But for one thing, he doesn't eat it, or we don't hear he's Obadiah is the one who says it's rabbit, but we don't know he was eating it. And
Right.
technically, everybody there shouldn't have been eating it. A lot of like Obadiah seems like he would be one who was following the law, even if Ahab wasn't. But it's interesting. I never would have thought about that.
Yeah,
Rabbit
me
is
neither.
unclean. But again, I don't think the guide isn't completely truthful because, other than Robin, we don't actually know with 100% certainty that anybody ate it. So
Right.
it is true it's an unclean food, not necessarily true Obadiah ate it.
Well, then Benjamin shows up. He came back to tell the king to head back to the palace because there's rain coming, and Ahab's like, "Again, Elijah speaks of rain. How could there be rain?" And then it thunders. He's like, "Everybody to your animals!"
I know. I had to write that line in my notes. I wasn't quite sure how to write it, so it's like, again, Elijah talks of rain, but I don't see a thunderclap. Everyone to your animal.
Yep. And then Robin says something to Obadiah, I think, about like, "Oh, we shouldn't go back to the palace because Jezebel hates me." And he's like, "It'll be okay. The king will tell her what happened." Back to the palace. Jezebel does not care whatsoever about what happened, other than that some of her priests got killed, and that must be Ahab's fault since he came back and they didn't.
Yep. And I was like, don't yell at me in front of the children. And Jezebel, up to this point, hadn't even noticed the children. She's like, ooh, children.
Yes. And then she decides that she will oversee their execution herself, and the adventure ends, and they come out of the imagination station as Wit and Tom come out, and they just start apologizing for getting the imagination station. He's like, "I'll never disobey a keep off sign ever again, and I won't let her."
Yeah. Like, no prison, no executions. And Tom and Whit are like,
Please, no
say what?
executions. Yeah.
Yeah. This is where part of me wonders how much of this adventure wasn't quite right because it wasn't completely done programming. Like, because I feel like it probably wouldn't let the imagination station threaten children with execution. I could be wrong because Wit can be kind of crazy sometimes.
Immersion.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, then Wit tells him to come down to the counter and tell them about what adventure they took. So he doesn't even know what adventure they went on. And then, so yeah, they go and start telling about their adventure, arguing about how it starts, because they obviously didn't start in the same place, which I feel like they could have established without arguing about how the adventure.
I know, like they know they didn't start together, so they could have been calmly like, "Would you like to tell your part first?" "Oh, thank you, I will." But Jack and Robin would never be that calm about it.
He's like, no, that's not how it started. That is how it started, just not for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then that is the episode. In the outro, Chris talks about how God can do mighty works through ordinary people.
Yeah, and she also tells us to read 1 Kings 18 to get the rest of Elijah and Jezebel's story, which I think was good, because we did actually leave the episode on a cliffhanger in order to preserve Jack and Robin's lives.
And actually a very important part of Elijah's story, because it kind of shows that even after all the great things Elijah did, he gets scared and goes and hides.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, obviously they had to cut off the story somewhere, because this adventure wasn't the complete life story of Elijah. But I think it's good that Chris is like, go here to find out the rest of what happens, because there are a lot more crazy things that happen with Elijah and Jezebel and Ahab. So, read your Bibles, kids.
Yep.
So you're not like Jack being like, what happened? I don't know.
Oh, I remember the story, but how did it go?
Yeah, every time.
Yeah. So I believe that does it for today's episode. Next week we have...
That's not fair. Do you know what episode that is?
It's not coming to me off the top of my head, but...
It's Connie and Robin and Oscar complaining about how the
right. Is it? Wait, that's the episode with. Maybe we should talk about the Bill of Rights.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And this didn't dawn on me until I was looking ahead for this to see what the next episode was. That's the first episode with Jessie, and she plays a super minor part in that episode, but it's her first episode.
Fun times.
So
we love Jessie.
Love Jessie. But before that, this Friday, we've got a bonus episode. We do actually know what it is. Do we want to say what it is, or do we want them to be surprised?
We should probably let them be surprised, unless we decide that we don't have enough material to talk about when we just wing it here in a couple of minutes.
That's fair. We know what it's going to be, or we think we know what it's going to be, but you'll have to find out on Friday if it's actually what we think it is right now. So join us on Friday for our August bonus episode.
Yes.
It'll be a good one.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, it should be entertaining.
Yeah, we thank you for watching and or listening. Subscribe wherever you get the podcast. Follow us on Facebook and or Instagram. And we will see you on Friday, hopefully, and also next week.
Yep. Bye.